live here from Watkins Glen International. This is the Velocity Designs 200 at Watkins Glen, or 100 rather, at Watkins Glen for the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series. I'm Josh Copperell. I'm joined in the booth by Brett Bennett and Adam Kuhn. How you guys doing?
Doing well, Josh. Excited for yet again another race here in the Coast to Coast Cup Series on Thursday night, and another road course, the second of the season. Should be an exciting one. Got a bunch of drivers here ready to tackle this racetrack and ready to see what's going to happen tonight. And excited to call this race with both you and Brett here tonight.
Yeah, I think this should be a very interesting race. We got a couple people real close on speed at the top of the field. Always been a challenging track, and the next gen, especially on cold tires, is a real challenge to get around here. So could see a very interesting race tonight.
Yeah, you talk about the next gen and what could be a really interesting race. What I'm looking forward to the most in this race is, I'll tell you personally, I'm not a road course racer, but these next gen cars have made road course racing a lot of fun for me. It's made me a little bit more successful at road course racing. And I'm kind of excited to see what these guys can do. I know these guys had a great show at the Daytona Road Course a few weeks ago. JCTV's debut with these guys, actually, which started in the middle of the season for them, but they put on a great show there. Cody Rivera is actually sitting P3 on the speed charts right now in practice, coming away with that race win. Of course, Adam, you were the only one of the three of us that were on the call for that race, but I think despite the fact that this is a road course, not the oval that we're used to seeing, I think we are going to see a great show tonight.
Yeah, I think so. That Daytona race you mentioned was pretty competitive, despite pretty much being dominated by, like you mentioned, Rivera's, who got that win. But there were a bunch of movement inside that top 10. Really, everyone other than Rivera's had a moment, just having their time to shine, moving throughout that top 10. And there was a lot of fluctuation going on, a lot of small mistakes that we saw these drivers go through, and it kind of played a huge part into the effect of how the race played out around everyone but Cody, and it was really interesting to see it play out, and I think we're going to be in store for that again tonight with a very, very challenging road course yet again tonight.
Yeah, I think Watkins Glen in general, you're going to have a little bit less room for air than you have even at the Daytona Road Course. The Daytona Road Course being a oval road course combination type track, you tend to have a lot of parts of that track have more room for air than you do here. Here, there's a lot of areas where the wall can come at hit you, where you overshoot a corner and braking zone, you get in a wall. Especially the next gen, where once you have the tires locked up, it just wants to go straight, which is any car, but especially with the bigger brakes on this, it's really easy to lock up your front tires and slide it into a wall. And plus, the canyon that is the S's will always, if anybody has issues there, it can turn into a parking lot. So it's going to be a real challenge for everybody to get around here today clean, but it should be a fun race to watch.
So we have a little over 40 seconds left in practice, so some quick race notes. There's 41 laps in this race. Stage caution is going to be at the end of lap 15. 2 extra tire sets in the pits for these guys, 70% fuel. And manual cautions are in play for tonight. So those are a couple things to know before the start of this race. So something else. I think it is tough because, again, we haven't been around too much to really get to know these drivers, but I still think it's fun. So, Adam, I'll let you go first. who is your pick to win tonight?
I'll go with the namesake of this race, Brian Lonzo, driver of the 77. We've seen him be up front almost every type of racetrack we go to and every type of circuit, so I think he's going to be a strong contender tonight. Didn't have the best result there in the practice speed charts, but I think he's going to be up front in contention when the stage caution comes out and put his name in the hat for the last stage sprint.
Brett, who do you have?
I'm gonna take probably the low-hanging fruit since he won the last road course race in the series, but I'm gonna go with Cody Rivera's. He won Daytona road course and he enters today's race only 11 points out of the points lead, and a win here could easily jump him ahead of Lorenzo for the lead in the points. So I expect him to perform well and to potentially get it done here today.
And before I give my pick, I do want to welcome in the booth Jonathan Canfield. Of course, not been here last couple of weeks, but just joining us tonight. And Jonathan, welcome. Hope you're doing all right. But who's your pick to win?
Well, good evening to all you guys up here in the booth, Brett, Adam, and Josh. I am doing well. For those of y'all that are wondering, for those of y'all who would have seen Tuesday night's race, I'm doing all right. And as far as pick to win, I gotta take the driver of this 23. I picked him a couple times, and even I think it was last Daytona road course. Adam and I kind of screwed him up on a pit stop after he had won the stage. Very, very fast driver, young driver at that, and I think he's got what it takes to get it done after seeing him go P2 on the speed charts in practice.
Now, I wasn't there at the Daytona road course, and I don't really know how drivers performed. I don't know who's road course driver, who's not, so my pick is completely out there. I don't really know, but I'm going to go with the driver of 25, Shockey Tarpley. I know from the races that I have watched, Tarpley's been up there, and you know, I think 25 might get it done. But we are watching qualifying right now. Right here is Sam Brochu, currently sitting not on a lap time. And
yeah, it's probably just his out lap, or right there is going to invalidate that lap. As soon as you run wide in one, that invalidates it.
Yeah, so Brochu will not get a lap time down on track. Here's Ellis Wells.
Actually, he did record a time on that first lap, 1:11.296.
Wells gonna go P4.
It's always a good sign that you got the top two separated by less than a tenth at a road course. A lot of times you'll see much bigger spreads in terms of lap time because there's so much more the driver has to do at the lap time, and there's so many spots to gain and lose time.
Yeah, not just the top two right now, the top four are separated by about half a second, so that's really positive right now, but I think it's going to get a little bit more spread out as we see a lot of these guys continue to complete laps. I was watching Gino Morrow run through his second lap, and he looked very wobbly going up the S's.
Once the tires get up the temperature, I notice especially too in the trucks, but when the little bit of practice laps I ran, it wasn't as bad in the next gen as it is in the trucks, but the Cup car can have that rear end get real loose in the S's, and once it starts to get loose, you are almost along for the ride. You're just trying to keep it out of the walls on both sides of the track.
I'm keeping eyes on this 23 of Nicholas Borski right now. He is on his second lap, which you would imagine would be one of the hot laps here. First lap going a 1:12.7. We'll see if he picks it up on the second lap at all. He did put down a 1:11.2 in practice, so Looking for a little bit better out of this 23 here on his second lap. See if he can put down a better lap.
Yeah, I would guess he probably made a mistake if he's running a 1:12.7, considering what he was running in practice. Especially on the first lap, if your tires aren't completely up to temperature, it's really hard to get the grip you need in turn 1 to put in a good lap time. Meanwhile, Cody Riveras on his second lap ran a 1:11.016. That's 2/10 faster than anybody ran in practice, so that's going to be a hard time for anybody to knock off, I think.
Borowski through turn 7. Now down the straightaway. P2.
Pretty speedy lap there. He got close to Rivera's, but still over a tenth off of that lap time the 36 put down.
Yeah, you see where William Britton is? I think that's about where I would be if I were out there. Probably below that.
I'll tell you where I would be if I were out there. I would be, if I did complete a lap time, probably in P15 right now.
Yeah, I think I'm probably in the same boat. If Justin Durand were out there, I can tell you where I'd be, because me and him will be within like a tenth of each other at pretty much every road course. But
I gotta agree with you guys. I'm not a stock cars on road course type of guy. I can definitely wheel a road car, but I cannot do stock cars on a road course. So I'd probably be down there with you guys. But Josh, your pick to win is out here on track for his qualifying run.
Yeah, I actually got the cameras on him, and lap 1 looking clean.
Right ahead of him on track is going to be Brian Alonso completing his second lap. His first put him at a 1:12.8, slotted him 12th on the speed charts, coming across the start finish line now to complete his second lap, and he picks up to a 1:11.7, so he's going to be in 6th right now.
Oh, Tarpley!
Oh!
Didn't.
that was a nice drift.
spin.
Yeah, I was about to say he did a good job there, not going over the curb.
But,
Not going to
that
help
might not
him
have
improve the
invalidated
lap
the lap.
time.
yeah, that is going to invalidate the lap time. So, basically, for those at home that aren't really sure what we're talking about, basically, iRacing gives you instant points. So even if you just go off track, past the track limits, it'll still give you an incident point. And anytime you get an incident point, or even if you just have that flash, even if you don't even get an incident point, but like a 0x, it still invalidates your lap time. Right there, Tarpley's going to go through the grass. So even if it didn't do anything in turn 1, that would definitely do it.
I think his tires were completely cooked from that Tokyo drift in turn 1, though, because he was hanging on for that car throughout the entire rest of those corners before that contact with the tire barrier.
Oh, and
Also,
I
to
don't
be
think he
fair,
knows the right front is broke.
Also, to be fair, if his lap time was already invalidated, usually if my lap time gets invalidated on my second lap, I'll just go ahead and try to wreck the car in the most spectacular way possible. So he might have also been doing that, because that tire barrier can cause some fun.
Yeah,
If
Ryan
I'm being
Newman knows about
honest-
that.
If I'm being honest, it looked like to me he was just trying to see how hard he could push the car throughout the rest of the track, kind of gather some data, and you see he's still going to bring it across the line here with the broken right front. And full throttle it into turn 1. There you go, Brett. That's what you were talking about.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Thought I was about to see shades of Zhou Guanyu. I'm not an F1 guy, so I apologize if I butcher that name, but couldn't tell you what race it was.
Silverstone, I think.
But, yeah, I was
Silverstone,
gonna
yeah.
say you guys would know immediately. What a wreck
Saving
that
the
was.
people who decided to sit on the backstretch,
Oh,
Yeah, for real.
preventing people from getting run over. Thankfully, Thankfully, iRacing has not programmed in the ability for protesters to block the track yet. Although knowing iRacing, that'll probably be coming in a future update.
Well, one thing while we talk about this, I noticed as the final seconds of qualifying winds down, the only other person right now who took track time, just additional track time, was Cody Rivera's, guy fastest of the whole field.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about qualifying. Actually, we see a lot of times where even if you after you complete your 2 laps, you still can run out there, just get laps, but they don't count for lap times. And in my opinion, especially in a fixed setup series where you don't have the transition from qualifying set to race set, it is additional practice that could be very valuable. Um, so I really am a fan of that idea. But qualifying is complete. We're going to go ahead and look at our starting lineup. So, starting on the pole is going to be the 36 of Cody Rivera's. Nicholas Borowski will start in P2. Sam Brochu will start third. Austin Duran in fourth. Ellis Wells, P5.
Starting in 6th is going to be 77 to Brian Lorenzo in the Velocity Designs car for this Velocity Designs 100. Alongside him is going to be Luke Mahone in the 5. Rolling off in 8th is Gino Mauro, and Traber Burns is going to start in 9th, and rounding out the first 5 rows on the field is going to be Alexander Schumacher in the 68, starting 10th.
Starting 11th will be Ollie Reeves in the 31. Starting 12th, Brandon Fiedler in the 39. Starting 13th, Shaki Tarpley in the 25. Wes Gallo in the 07 14th, and William Britton in the 64 P15. Start. You got Jonathan? Okay, I got it. Starting 16th, Riley Marabello. 17th, Jason Ratchcock. 18th, Drew Webb. 19th, Patrick Lucio. And rounding out the field is Brendan Fowler in P20. The bottom 5 all did not record a time in qualifying. They all did record practice times, though.
So the field is 2x2, just one pace lap here before the green flag comes out. Go to Rivera's
Brian
course.
Lorenzo appears to be having some connection issues. He's blinking a lot on the pace lap. That's always concerning coming to the green flag.
Yeah, it's pretty bad connection issues. He is disappearing more than he is being shown, and it's pretty consistent flashes here on this pace lap.
Doing his best Tyler Watermelon impersonation.
That is a scary sight for those around him.
It's going to be Gino Mauro right there lined up behind him. Should be interesting to see how everyone in that outside lane is going to navigate the start.
Yeah, it's really concerning because, especially when somebody's blinking that bad, you have no clue where they are at times. The good news, he at least seems to be blinking constantly enough that you can almost tell where he is because he's not staying on long.
Pace car working its way into pit road. Green flag being held by Barney Flagman. Green flag is in the air. We're on our way here at Watkins Glen.
They all did a good job getting through turn 1 clean there. That can often be a bottleneck. I know I've gone bowling there before.
Right now, as they stack up, it's Rivera's, Brochu, Borski, Then Duran, and I didn't catch who that 5th place car was. I believe that might be, yes, it is the 57 of Ellis Wells. Kind of all in this little group by themselves. You got a little bit of a gap back to the 5 of Luke Mahone.
They've done a really good job keeping it clean so far. Lorenzo is dropping back quickly, though. I don't know if that's connection or if that's a different issue.
I think that was a little bit of courtesy getting out of the way there and trying to let these guys by, knowing he's got his issue.
Yeah, that would not surprise me.
So lap 1 is complete, and now I do want to say, we were talking about track limits and invalidating lap times in qualifying. Well, here in the race, that's not the case. If you go out there, you will get the 1X for off track, but it doesn't invalidate your lap time. And I'm not sure, one of you guys might have to confirm or deny this, but I don't know if they have incident limits per se. So if you go over a certain limit, you have to disqualified. That would be the one key here to save your off tracks. Because obviously you don't want to get disqualified. Like right in here, off of turn 6, that's an area where you can't go where it's an off track. It's going to be that area, and then the runoff in turn 1, as these guys are approaching that right now.
I don't think there's an incident limit. I don't remember there being one at Dega last week, I don't think, and I don't think they have ones here. And if there's not, I mean, really the fastest line is to not take an off track through there and to kind of just put 4 tires right on that curbing on exit of 1, typically. But as the run goes on and the car doesn't grip as well, you can get a decent run off by just running it wide and then coming back onto the racing surface. So I know there's been races where I've seen people get 30, 40X just from 1Xs in turn 1 because they'll just run it wide every time in leagues. Because you don't get that. A lot of times in iRacing, when you have an off track on a road course in a situation like that, there's also a slowdown penalty attached, but there is no slowdown penalty attached for turn 1 here. So you can run as wide as you want.
Well, one change in position we saw in the top 5 about a lap ago into the bus stop was Austin Doan going around Nicholas Borowski in the 23. So that move the 55 up a spot into the 3rd place, and he is not letting those top 2 go. He's keeping the pressure right there.
Yeah, those top 3 are really staying together, and you got to think if you're Brochu, you want to be just keep putting the pressure on Rivera's, because it's hard to set up, it's hard to make passes, and one of the easiest ways to get around people is just keep pressuring them until they make a mistake.
Brochu went a little wide there in the second part of the S's, and he's still wide coming off turn 3. But guys, one thing we noticed there, of course, pretty obvious on those opening pace laps, Brian Lorenzo's internet issues. He just dropped his packet loss completely a couple of seconds ago, about last lap, so he is out of the session for the time being. See if he tries to get back in the session and turn some laps. He is the point leader coming into this race tonight.
As I think Rick Allen would say, championship implications.
Especially with his biggest rival right now leading the field.
Yeah, that could be a huge swing in the points, and it can happen. I mean, I know I had my issues at the start of the ITPN season with my computer turning itself on and off. My computer blue screen, got that fixed thanks to Brian Haynes at Mardon PC. Gotta shout him out when I can. But yeah, it's just frustrating when it's happening, because usually 99% of the time, except probably for my case it was my fault because I'm inept with computers, but in most cases there's really nothing you can do on your end to prevent that. It's just where you live and what type of computer you have. Sometimes it just will not cooperate, and it is immensely frustrating when, especially somebody like Lorenzo who is leading the points and is fast, and for him to have issues that probably beyond his control, that's got to be really frustrating.
One thing I want to talk about, guys, and I thought about just a moment ago. these next-gen cars, the way that the tire model is, the tires really don't wear. And actually, it is beneficial to not take tires during the pit stop. So I'm wondering, you know, right now, very early in this race, you've got the top four pretty much all under Lincoln. And if they continue to stay like this throughout the race, you know, I think it might come down to the race off pit road. And we've seen that before. Oh, there's going to be contact, though, between Duran and Brochu. They keep it straight, but wow. That could have been bad.
That's the advantage
still
of that.
Struggling.
Yeah, Brochu's been struggling in the S's, and when you miss the line in the first part of the S's, it's really hard to get that car back under control and stay fast for the S's. It's all about kind of hugging all three curbs on the left, right, left. Or sorry, right, left, right.
So as I was saying, you know, I think in this race, it might not be a bad idea when you pit fuel only. And you know, I know the longer you run, as odd as it sounds, you can get more grip in certain places. I know here last year, when the official series come to Watkins Glen, you actually could go full throttle towards the end of a race through the S's. Whereas, you know, if you try doing that on fresher tires, you're going to screw up. And talking
Big guy
about
bombed by
screwing up,
Borowski.
that was a great
He made it stick.
job. Yeah. That could have been a big screw up there by Borowski,
But Duran's going to battle back, and he's going to lift out. That probably the smart move there. You really don't want to be side by side.
Sorry, but just ahead of him, Sam Brochu knocked down both sides of the Armco barrier going up the hill in the S's. He got it with the right side door and then coming up through turn 3, completely knocked it down with the driver's side. So he's continuing to slip up in the S's like you pointed out a lap ago, Brett.
All good there, Adam. Yeah, on the bright side, I don't see any damage to that car. And once again, I think I've mentioned this 2 weeks ago when I was here for Iowa, but that new damage model that they have on the next-gen car is remarkably forgiving if you don't hit it wrong. If you don't damage the suspension, you likely can get away with contact like that. So I think he'll be fine. So got away with one right there. And you saw how much Borowski and Duran lost being side by side entering the S's there, both having to lift out a little more. Cost them probably each about a second. Brochu looked much more comfortable through the S's that time.
and actually closing in on Rivera's. I'm wondering if Cody might have backed down a little bit.
Yeah, he might be trying to save a little tire here or save some fuel. I have not done the full calculations on the fuel run, but I think it's a little more than this stage. But there might be a possibility if you save fuel, you could do this race on one stop. I don't think you can, but that might be a possibility. Because I think Brochu's about to get him for the lead here.
Yeah, Brochu actually out front. Not quite clear of Rivera's just yet, but they're side by side going into one. Rivera's just going to take a wide. Brochu, new race leader.
And speaking of fuel, it will be interesting to see when people want to pit in this race. If you're two stopping it, it might be worthwhile for somebody to come down and pit with 2 to go in the stage. It's like you used to see in real life with the stage caution before they got rid of the stage cautions at road courses. And go ahead and lose that track position, lose the stage points, but pick it up on but get the track position on the ensuing restart to the end of the race.
We have a spin in the S's. It's Riley Marabello. He backed it into the tire bundle in the last corner, and he's back going, but he has lost, I think, 5 or 6 positions at least. You mentioned it doesn't look like he's got that much damage. Maybe a little clinker on the right rear, maybe not even that. It's going to rejoin in the 7th or the 16th position.
See if we can get a
He honestly-
replay of what happened. Go ahead, Brett.
He honestly got kind of
Oh.
lucky. He,
Good lord.
yeah, he just had another accident. That looked like either his computer shut off or he can Alt F forward. That second one.
So here's what initially happened. Just got too much of the curb. Oh. Backed it into those tire barriers. Just trying to get it going. We'll fast forward here to...
And he might have, looking at the way that car was wobbling, he might have bent a toe link or the left rear on that. That looked like an Alt F4.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Pretty spectacular way to Alt F4, but meanwhile, live, change for third, Nicholas Borowski got around Austin Dorn and made the move, setting it up in turn 7, completed it in turn 1 when he got clear, coming off that corner. Dorn had a little bit more acceleration, gave him a shot. No harm, no foul with these next gens. They didn't do anything at all, really. They just got back going, kept going, but contact there between them, and they're still close right here for this 3rd and 4th position while they watch those top 2 drive away just little by little here.
I do think Rivera's did back it up a little bit when he let Brochu by. It's hard to know, though. He could also have maybe gotten the tires a little too hot for a lap and had to just take it easy and let him cool down, so that could have been the case, too. It's weird to me that he would have let him by, and then it seems like he's picked up back up the pace once Brochu was by him.
See Brian Alonso, who came back onto the track a few laps ago, 4 laps down, make that 5 now, aid way for the leaders in the bus stop, put out of the way to the straight through lane.
I think at this point for him, he's just going to try to make laps and pick off people where he can. I wouldn't be surprised if, with the way he's blinking, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, sorry, Brett, but Austin Dorn gave Borowski a shot into turn 6, and he almost lost it himself entering 7. That was a good save from the 23 car, though.
Yeah, he did a great job keeping out of the gravel there.
Wow. That was insane. And the fact that these drivers are still going straight, it's pretty surprising there.
Shades of Brad Keselowski and Marcus Ambrose. See if anybody comes down pit road this time. I believe, if I'm remembering right, this lap the pits will close when the leader gets to the start-finish line.
There was a crash in the bus stop right ahead of the race leaders. Patrick Kuliosu nosed it in, I think, into the tire bundle there in the last corner again in the bus stop chicane, and RF forward or towed right to the pits, trying to get out of the way for the leaders who were catching him pretty quickly. And Brett, to answer your question, pit road is closed right now.
I think they might have closed it a little early because I thought Maybe I misread the rules earlier.
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to close right there as well, as soon as the leader got to the line. What just happened? But
Either way, none of them pit, so
yeah, so 4-horse battle for this race lead still. As once these guys get to the line, it will be one more lap for the stage.
One battle I've been watching on and off the last couple laps has been the battle for the 10th position. It's between Alexander Schumacher and Ollie Reeves, who is slotted in 11th right now. They had been side by side for about 2 or 3 laps consecutively off turn 7, and you can tell by looking at the times in the field because they are 6 and 7 seconds off the next car in line.
yeah. When you start battling somebody hard here, the time to people in front of you will just drop. That's why it gets so frustrating when you're stuck behind a slower car and you're not quite fast enough to get by him. Meanwhile, Sam Brochu comes to the line to win stage 1. Oh shoot, never mind, I'm calling that a lap early.
Dang, Marty Reed.
I know, I pulled a Marty Reed.
Okay, the stage length has been... I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. The stage length has been changed like 3 or 4 different times last month.
Yeah, I was looking at the pits closed when the leader starts lap 14. I'm discombobulated.
Brochu gets through the bus stop. Looking well on his way. He'll win this stage. Down the straightaway at the line is going to be Sam Brochu taking stage number 1. Cody Rivera's P2. Austin Durant P3.
Gotta wonder if on this ensuing restart, if Borowski's going to have something to say after the way Durant got by him for 3rd. That was a pretty hefty shot Durant gave him.
Schumacher crosses the line. Yellow's going to come out. Brochu already in that bus stop.
And under caution here can be a little more treacherous than a lot of tracks when you're hustling to catch that pace car, because especially if you're at the back, you really do have to hustle to get back around to the pace car, because you want to be with the leaders when everybody comes down pit road. And I've almost lost it, and I've seen people actually wreck it trying to just catch the pace car in these races at road courses. So you got to be a little careful here. And Josh, speaking of what you were saying earlier about lap times, I'm real quick looking at the lap times for Sam Brochu so far in this race. And really, not a lot of fall off. He's only, that last lap of the stage, he was only 5/10 off his fastest lap, and he's been pretty consistent running 11.3s, 11.4s. So really is not a lot of, at least lap time fall off here.
Yeah, I honestly, you know, if I'm in this race, I don't really care where I'm running at. don't know if I would take tires. Right here, as long as I feel like I haven't abused the tires. But yeah, I mean, you know, some guys that are in the back might take some tires, just see if they can get any little advantage with grip. But overall, if I'm Brochu, Rivera's, Duran, Borowski, Wells, I'm not thinking about tires here.
I'm also wondering if we'll see some people stay out and try to make it on one stop here. Although I don't think that's a possibility, but yeah, and everybody's coming.
I really am interested to see what these guys are going to do here. I see a lot of left sides
It's
going.
a lot of jacks, yeah.
Here's
a lot
everybody's
of jacks
left. At least those top four, all taking 4 tires.
Yeah.
And it appears Cody Rivera won the race off pit road, beating out Brochu. Followed by Duran, Wells, Mero, and Borowski. Slow stop, loses 2 positions. I go see if Borowski maybe slid through his box or something.
And one driver is staying on pit road for a little bit longer for damage repairs, and that's going to be the 25 of Shockey Taupley. He was in the 14th position, going to restart in 17th here.
And honestly, I just went back and looked at it. Borowski didn't look like he stopped short, but looked like he was really conservative getting into his box, kind of slowed up real early. And I think just that not being aggressive there getting into his box cost him those 2 spots. Because really on iRacing, the only way you can gain or lose positions in the pits under caution, excluding like people taking damage, is really just optimizing your ability to get in and out of your box.
We're going to take a quick side-by-side while these guys are under caution. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back when we restart.
Hey guys, it's Jonathan from JCTV. Here at JCTV, we currently broadcast 3 series. On Tuesdays, you'll catch the Slide Job Racing League featuring drivers such as Dalton Kilroe, Dane Cruz, and Jonathan Parker.
And real quick, we are 3 wide for the race lead. Hawkins, Wygant, Hapiak, they went 4 wide for a moment with a lap car.
On Fridays, you'll see the NAOR series featuring Nick Hapiak, Chris Wright, and Josh Arnold. As that happens, here comes the 5 through the middle right now. He's going to force the issue and take it
4
3
wide! 4 wide!
God!
What a move by Justin Duran to go to the race lead!
On Saturdays, you can find the InThePitsNews Truck Series featuring Justin Duran, Zach Probst, and Ethan Fonseca Moreno. To book JCTV for your own league, please visit us at jctvracing.com and contact us for a booking. Remember, race fans, you can always watch racing live or anytime over at JCTV's YouTube channel.
And we welcome you back here to Watkins Glen. Drivers are side by side, ready for the restart there. Going to carousel and turn 5 here. And Rivera's, he will have have the race lead on the restart. Rivera's, Rochu, Duran, Wells, and Morrow, the top 5. Restart, 22 laps to go, so just a little under halfway here in this race. Not really a long one.
No, I believe it's just over 100 miles, so kind of a little bit of a sprint here, but it takes a little while to get around this road course, so this guy's getting ready to fire off for this last stage.
I would see their aggression go way up on this restart compared to the first one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going back green flag in the air. Didn't look like Rivera's really whipped. Rochi with a great jump on that outside line. Here comes Duran trying to go around the outside. Rivera's still struggling.
They all made it through there clean. Yeah, Rivera's definitely did not take off well, dropping all the way back to 3rd.
Yeah, we saw a lot of checkup behind him, and behind them, Luke Mahone. Yeah, I watched that happen through turn 4. He almost caught the wall in turn 4, and he did a good job saving it, and everyone around him did a good job reacting, and they're locking up going into the bus stop. I believe it was Traber Burns, but he makes it. He's wide.
William Britton has spun on the bus stop.
Nicholas Borowski has spun entering the carousel.
Oh, another spin. That was the one I saw.
That is tough for Borowski, who's running up front.
Oh, we got another spin in turn 6. The 0-2 went around.
Yeah, Traber Burns, I saw him pretty hot through the bus stop. Looking back at Borowski's incident, Borowski just hit the last curb a little bit too hard in the chicane in the bus stop, and it just lost underneath him. And I haven't really seen anyone spin like that all race today, and they've been able to hit it just fine.
Lots of action on that first lap after the restart there. Duran took off really good on that first stint, and once again, he is right there with Rochu right now, putting pressure on him.
I also look back at Traber Burns' incident. That was a single car incident. He lost the rear tires off turn 6, got into the tire barrier entering 7, so he's on pit road right now for damage repair and new tires.
You can tell Duran is really pushing it, trying to get to Brochu. Oh, and Mahone into the tire barrier on the exit of turn 6. Just made minimal contact, keeps it rolling. Looked very similar to the incident with Traber Burns.
Duran doing a great job with staying here with Rochu, but the question is, as you mentioned, it looks like he's pushing pretty hard.
Oh, spin and big contact into 1 and exiting turn 1. It's Drew Webb who's going to park it and I think call it a night, because he lost it on turn 1 and it whipped around him, caught that tire bundle on the pit exit, and he caught air a little bit, and very lucky he didn't catch anyone else.
Has missed the corner in the bus stop, and Mahone was in the grass in the S's. Everybody's struggling. Let's restart. Wells probably has a slowdown here, so I would not be surprised here if we see Merrow get by him. And yep, he's going to have to slow down here, take that slowdown penalty, because he cut the last bit of the bus stop.
Oh yeah, he just went straight through it completely.
When you get in that hot, that's the right decision, just to go straight through and then take the slowdown. Don't risk spinning it, because once you hit that grass, you just got to keep the wheel straight so you don't spin.
And those walls come up really fast that are going to completely tear up your car.
Yep.
Oh, spin turn 1, it's Wells getting in the back of Morrow. They both saved it, but Wells super wide, and he's going to lose 2 positions now with Alexander Schumacher getting by.
I gotta think he's overheated his brakes, and right now is locking up really easily. I think that's probably what happened in the bus stop, and then probably same thing right there.
So much going on all at once, and Durant's still right here with Brochu for the race lead.
Yeah, he's going to keep trying to put pressure on him, and really being as fast as somebody and getting around them can be two different things, but he's got a big run here in the turn 6. Earlier we did see him put the bumper to Borowski in turn 6, so I don't think he's going to want to do it this early, but it might be consideration as this race goes on. I think Cody Rivera is just happy to ride in third, sit back and watch these two battle. Meanwhile, his biggest championship rival, Alonso, is in 18th, 4 laps down. So really at this point, running for the championship, he might just be considering taking what he can get and not really risking it, because you don't want to give it all back up.
Or just let those two in front of him fight for this win and maybe let it come back to him.
He's definitely gaining, and I think Duran is really starting to pressure Brochu. Brochu is really good in 6 and 7, though. He really puts some distance on him there. I think Brochu's a little faster in turn 1 in the S's, though.
Duran's gonna be just right there.
And I said this earlier, but I'm pretty sure they do have to stop one more time, but there could be an off chance. I think that's I think it's going to be interesting to also see when you pit here. And as Josh said earlier, do you take tires? The lap fall still has just not been there. And you're probably.
I'd have to say, if you're Brochu or Duran or Rivera, I think if you take tires, you're just making a mistake, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I'm not far enough towards the front in any of these races. I also mean I got to spin. The 07 of Wes Gallo has gone around in the bus stop. He's got it rolling back again. Didn't look like he hit anything.
Yeah, he was in a pretty tight battle. I was watching him a lap ago with Ollie Reeves racing into the bus stop here. I'm looking back at the replay now with Nicholas Borowski, and there's another car, Brandon Fielder, but he's just cut into the first corner of the bus stop, and Borowski was poking his nose to the inside, and he just turned across the front of that 23, and around he went. Two guys going for the same piece of real estate, and no damage to the 07 like you mentioned. Nothing wrong with him. He's back going, but now dropped to 12th.
And if you want to see an example of how much traffic and trying to get by people affects your lap time, Borowski, after he spun, was about 15 seconds back, and based on that first stage, really was the same pace as Brochu, Duran, and Riveras, and since then has lost 4 or 5 more seconds just working by people.
Still hounding Brochu. Just can't get close enough to make that move just yet.
And one move I would, if I'm Duran, one thing I am doing is I am peeking that nose to the inside on especially the front stretch, making him think that I might be considering a dive bomb. A lot of times I know I made it. It was one of the many moves in the mid-off at the Roval a few years ago between me and Justin Duran, but that's a move I like to do because a lot of times you can make the other guy think you're going to dive bomb it in them and make them drive it in deeper than they want. You actually can back up your corner and then just pass them on exit, cross them over and pass them on exit. That's a move maybe if I'm Duran I would be considering right now. Make them think you're going to go for the dive. Because the one thing he's doing is he seems to just be kind of riding in his wheel tracks. When you're and as long as he's riding in his wheel tracks, if I'm Brochu, when somebody's riding my wheel tracks, I am not that concerned about them trying to pass me, because it's when they start moving out of line and feinting maneuvers that I get worried. Are they going to try to dive bomb me? Are they going to try to peek up the inside? Are they going to maybe try to get into me? Behind me, the only thing I got to worry about is the bumper, and these cars are pretty stable when getting bumped, so you really have to drive through somebody to really unsettle them.
Riding on board with Durant, you see how much better Durant is through those S's. Just has to give up the time going into the bus stop. He does not want to be side by side going into that bus stop.
Yeah, and that's kind of a single line corner. You did see him start to peek his nose a little bit on that straightaway, though. Just giving Brochu a little bit to think about. The other thing to look here will be who will blink first and come to pit road. Oh, and we got a spin.
Spin and exiting the bus stop. It's Ollie Reeves. He was
Everybody
leading
did
a
a good
train
job
of
avoiding
3
him.
cars. And yeah, Borowski and Fielder, who he spun right in their lap, did a good job navigating around that 31. And Ollie Reeves has not had a really great race to remember tonight. One of the guys still tight in that championship battle, but gonna slip away just a little bit more with that run here tonight.
Yeah, and that's the thing with road courses, is it really can separate those championship battles, because a lot of times you'll see where some of the people at the front, the Michael Krugers of the world, are very fast at road courses, and others, well, I'm not a championship contender, so I don't count, but the Justin Durans of the world, who are fast everywhere, but road courses just can knock them so back in the points.
And that spin for Ollie, it didn't look like there was any contact. It looked like he just lost out on power exiting the bus stop.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of road courses, we have a road course coming up Saturday night at the end of the Stooge Truck Series. That one, it's, well, here.
Don't have to go far.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pack the camper right here.
Oh, Brochu got loose there off one.
Yeah, and Duran is all over him into the S's. As I said, that Duran staying right on his bumper for so long, that pressure just builds and builds, especially as the lead car, feeling like you have to be perfect corner after corner to stay ahead of a guy. And it gets harder and harder to make it work lap after lap. They're both pushing though hard. You can see them sliding around a bit in the bus stop there.
I think Duran's best opportunity to try to make a pass is going to be either turn 1, turn 6, or turn 7.
So the three main passing zones?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, the only thing that I could think of would be if Durant did such a better run off the bus stop going into the carousel, and Brochu runs a little wide. That might be an opportunity, but really through the S's or into the bus stop, if you're Durant, you don't want to make that move.
Duran looks so composed through turn 1 lap after lap. Like, that line he's running through turn 1 is the ideal line, and he is hitting his marks lap after lap. He's got another big run out of the bus stop here. He's going to peek to the inside. Now he's just going to tuck back in and follow. He keeps getting a huge run out of the S's, and I gotta wonder if, as this race gets later and later, if eventually he tries to take a lunge into the bus stop. It's a really dangerous spot to do it, but you can go too wide through there. I don't recommend it.
Might end up like William Byron and Ty Dillon.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs, that's it. But Duran
Oh, Duran into the wall.
issues.
Just as we were saying how consistent he was, and that might have damaged the. That definitely has. Yeah, that damaged the left side of his car, and I gotta wonder if the suspension is.
Yeah, that was a big back end slide with that right rear tire there.
Speaking of
Yeah,
back-end slides,
I would not
sliding
be
there.
surprised if he bent a toe link on that contact, because you can tell he does not have the same grip he had. Some of that might be aero too, because that aero is definitely messed up. And as we were saying, it's the first one to when you're that similar on pace, it's the first one to blink, and it was Austin Duran that blinked first.
That is so tough.
And it's so easy to do in that last corner. That last corner really tightens on exit. And if you're pushing, it's so easy to overdrive it into that wall. Duran, though, after that, he almost hit it again there. Duran, after he dropped about a second back immediately, but is actually kind of stabilized right there. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but that damage, the more I look at it, doesn't look as severe as I first thought.
No, honestly, I don't. The only little bit of damage I see is just on the left front nose. The hood is a little crinkled, but otherwise his car looks very, very clean. And
He's immediately closing right back in on Brochu.
Yeah, I think Duran has realized his car still feels good. I mean, I saw him give it a wiggle a couple of times just to make sure that the car still felt great. Duran,
And after
he looks like he's not making this slow him down at all.
Yeah, and after contact like that, you almost want to take a few corners and make sure your car still is driving the same, because even if it doesn't damage the suspension, just the aero being different can change how the car can handle. It might get a little looser, it might be a little tighter. So he did the smart thing of taking a corner, going a little slower, making sure his car was still fine, but once he realized that he could still drive it basically the same, he's closing right back in on Brochu. Also, Rivera's had dropped back to about 3.5 seconds back. He has started climbing back into it a little bit. And Duran, that last lap, ran a 111.1. That is only 1/10 off the pole speed of this race. So that damage is definitely not hurting him.
Yeah, Duran actually fastest car on track right now. I think that surprises all of us a little bit.
We have a car stopped in the entrance to turn 7 right as these guys go around. It's Chaber Burns going to go down 2 laps. He's going to back up as Gino Morrow is going to come through the complex and right back into the wall. He's had a pretty eventful night. Just a few moments ago, he passed William Britton. Yeah, he is, and he's not going to find one soon. Now there's going to be one after these next 2 cars, but he's going to go anyway. Oh my gosh.
Danger.
But, yeah, and as I was saying, William Britton just, he's going to tow right there, finally give up. But William Britton lost a position to him with all of his damage he had on that 64. And as soon as he lost that position, he decided to call it a night.
And that's where I mentioned earlier, but Lorenzo staying in this session, he'll get by Britton and he'll get by Burns. That'll get up to 15th. And in a championship battle, every point matters. So just sticking around, he's going to continue to gain spots. Maybe get 1 or 2 other people running the issues.
And his biggest help is that Sam Brochu won that stage, and that Brochu and Duran are outrunning Rivera's at the time being on the racetrack.
Yeah, the worst case scenario for him would be Duran and Brochu getting into each other. And the way they're racing, it would not surprise me if that ends up happening. And I'm still not sure what the fuel situation is, and maybe they can make it without stopping. because I know if I were in that battle, I might have considered coming early just to top off, take fuel only, and top off if I have to pit.
Riding on board with Durant once again.
Oh, we got a spin in the last corner. Luke Mahone, he is going to barely nose it into the inside wall and keep it rolling. Looked like he locked up trying to stay off the back of who was that in front of him? Trying to stay off the back of
West Gallo.
Yeah, West Gallo. He's gotten it rolling again. And seeing all the struggles everybody else is having, it makes it even more impressive what those top, especially the top three and everybody up front's doing, just running clean lap after clean lap. Especially Brochu and Duran, who are not just running clean lap after clean lap, but running very fast lap times every single lap.
Duran right on Brochu's back bumper.
He is not giving Brochu any room to breathe, but Brochu keeps just being consistent and not making mistakes. And I gotta wonder if Duran eventually gets desperate and tries to peek one up the inside into a place where maybe he shouldn't. As you see, Duran was all over that first curb in the bus stop. Actually, probably cost him a little bit of time to the bus stop.
I think he hit it pretty good. I think Brochu hit that second bump a little bit too much because it shot his car straight up and it looked pretty uncomfortable settling back down on the racetrack.
Yeah, for me, I saw Duran's all four tires off the ground over the first curb. Which you want to get pretty much as close to that inside wall on that first turn without hitting that guardrail as you can. Oh, he might try to cross him over here. He's definitely starting to give Brochu things to think about. Like there, he was peeking that nose all the way down the front stretch. He hasn't tried to dive bomb, but he's making Brochu think. And really, when you're second and you're not that much better than in front, that's always the best strategy right now. Until you get that last lap, it's just keep making him think that you might do something and hope he makes the mistake. Because it's way easier to pass somebody who's made a mistake than it is to just pass somebody outright. That's the one place where I think Brochu right now is really good. Is I think he's faster than Duran in the bus stop, and that's where he keeps Duran from being able to get there into the carousel. Because I think Duran's pretty much better through 6, 7, 1.
Laps to go at the line. And one thing I want to point out there, I agree with you, Brett, but I noticed that time as they were coming through the carousel, Brochu ran a little wide where Duran was really hugging that line, wrapping it around the carousel a lot better than Brochu was. So though I do agree that Brochu is better in the bus stop in 6, 7, and 1, if he continues to run wide there through 5, that might be what Duran needs.
That time Duran was a lot better through the bus stop than he was in the previous lap too. And as he mentioned, he does do a better job hooking that inside line. He might have a chance here into turn 6.
Ooh! Lost the back end though, big time on the curbs, did Austin Dorn. Oh, he might have brushed the wall there all again coming through turn 7. See him shaking the car just a little bit there, guys.
He is just going to keep pressuring him. I gotta wonder when he's going to make a move, because there's no way he's just going to ride behind him the rest of this race. Or at least I don't think that would be the case. And they're actually, despite being so close together, they are actually gapping Cody Rivera's in third. He's going to peek to the inside and tucks back in line to the bus stop. Again, Duran better through the carousel.
Is it desperation time as Duran goes through turn 6 just behind Brochu?
And just something to think about, remember, Duran did successfully move Borowski in stage 1 in turn 6. So he might have that in the back of his mind that he knows he can go to that move and just send Brochu wide in turn 6 as they take the white flag.
The white flag is out. Duran was right there on the back
All
bumper
over him in
Brochu.
turn 1.
I think that was the opportunity to try to do the bump and run. And Duran
He
just
He's got
tried.
2 more chances.
He definitely tried it. Brochu did a great job keeping it under him there.
He's got a good run off turn 4. Can he make this? No,
not
he's
gonna do it in the
going to
bus
stay in
stop.
line
He's
here
gonna
going to
fall-
the bus
he's gonna
stop,
fall
yeah.
through the bus stop. Oh, but a really good line through the
Ooh.
bus stop for Duran. He's right on him.
Yeah, he went through there much better than Brochu, and he's going to give him a shove through the carousel.
Looks like he got a little unlucky. Looked like there was some net code. He went through his bumper instead of into it.
we go off the carousel. 2 more corners. Duran checking the outside, checking the inside. Brochu mirror driving. 1 more chance here for Duran. What's he gonna do? He's gonna poke to the inside. They're gonna be side by side down the front stretch. It's a drag race to the line. Who's gonna get it? It's gonna be Duran. Brochu spun.
Brochu tried to left rear him for the win there and lost it himself. What a race.
We have a battle for 7th going on. Alexander Schumacher just muscled Nicholas Borowski a little bit wider in turn 6. Going to try and defend that position in the last corner, and DD will. But yeah, that battle for the win. Both those guys is revving the rear tire, lighting them up off turn 7 and drag racing to the line. You mentioned Brochu trying to left rear to win there. I think that's because he knew he had it lost with the drag race, so he's just trying last chance at anything.
Honestly, that was immensely impressive from Duran. The patience he showed just following Brochu and picking his spot there really made it pay off. That was really impressive. And what a race. I know I was crapping on road courses before this started, but if they produce races like that, then that's why you go here.
So your final race results. The race win is going to go to Austin Duran, Sam Brochu in 2nd, Cody Rivera's 3rd, Gino Morrow 4th, Ellis Walls 5th, Jason Rashcock in 6th, Alexander Schumacher 7th, Nicholas Borowski in 8th, Brandon Fielder 9th, Wes Gallo in 10th.
Ollie Reeves going to end up in 11th place with Sharky Tarpley 12th. Luke Mahone ends up 13th. Brendan Fowler, the last car on the lead lap, finished 14th. And Brian Alonso, 5 laps down, made his way through the race with his connection issues on the start. He's going to finish 15th place.
And then the rest of the field, we got the rest of the drivers all failed to finish this race. Traver Burns, 16th, 9 laps off the pace. William Burden, 17th, 11 laps. Drew Webb, 18th, 19 laps off the pace. Patrick Coluccio, 19th, 29 laps off the pace. And Riley Mirabello rounds out the field, 33 laps down in 20th. Josh, I don't know. If you can pull up a replay of that finish, I would not mind seeing that again.
Let's see if I can do that.
And I'll see if we can get.
Sarah Durand, right on the back bumper of through the carousel. Durand looks to the right, looks left, looks right, stays in the line. Durand just hanging right there. Brochu goes wide. Durand saw the opportunity. They both slide off of 7. And it's just a drag race to the line.
Yeah, it looks like just really, I got to give Durand did a great job of, he gave him just enough of a bumper to get to his inside there, backed off, and then drove it in hard, gave him a bumper, gave him 2 bumps. That might be why he was trying to turn him there. He definitely moved him up out of the way to try to get by him, and then was able to get onto the throttle first and then hold on for the win. What a finish.
I've always said, you know, if I'm a driver, if the way I want to race somebody and the way I want to be raced is, you know, if you're battling for a position like that, a bump and run, I think is fine. You know, it's clean. Bump. You know, we hear this phrase, rubbing is racing. You know, a dump and run is a whole different scenario. And Durand, he did everything he could to keep that clean. I think that was a very well played out move by Durand to get that race win.
Yeah, I think that was a move that it straddled the line a little bit, but I think that was pretty clean. The next gen car, to be fair, to move somebody in the next gen car, you really do have to basically dump them because that car is so stable when getting hit in the rear that if you just barely bump somebody, they are not going to move. You have to actually really put the bumper to them. That might be why. Probably, I know if I'm Brochu, I'm probably thinking I got hit pretty hard because otherwise I don't think he's moving up the track there. But at the end of the race, that's for a race win. That point of the race, you got to be ready for contact. I thought they, for the most part, ran it clean all race and just it was perfectly timed by Durand.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and bring in our third place finisher, Cody Rivera's. Brett, I think you are caught up with him.
Hello, Cody.
What's going on, guys?
Congrats on your third place finish here tonight. What more did you possibly need to get it done? As looked like Austin and Sam kind of drove away from you there in that final stage.
Yeah, you know, I kind of just had a little brain fart there on the restart. You know, I had a great pit stop. We got out in first place, and here I am thinking I control the restart right at the restart zone, so I'm looking at my spot, picking it, getting ready to go. Not even thinking that on road courses we go on green, obviously, because the restart zone goes before. So I slept on my own restart as the leader, and then just trying to be, you know, easy, take it easy through there. I ended up getting on that sausage curb on the very inside of turn 1 there on the restart. Got myself loose, heated up the tires too much right there, and for the first couple laps I was fighting a real loose race car and ended up spotting those guys about a 2.5 to 3 second gap, and then kind of just sat at that same spot for the rest of the race. Couldn't really gain, didn't really lose anything till the end when I was trying stuff to see if I could get close enough to sneak through if they got rowdy at the end, which of course they did. It was an awesome little battle to watch from behind. But yeah, I think I had the pace if I could have handled that restart a little better. But congrats to Sam and Austin. They had a fantastic race. They had fantastic drives.
Yeah, and as you're mentioning, getting those tires heated up really compromised your run there. I was going to ask, because this kind of was something I was thinking in stage 1. In stage 1, did same thing happen in stage 1 when Sam got by you then? Because I noticed you kind of had one lap where it seemed like you just kind of slipped up.
Yeah, I just had one little bobble, and then he got by me. And then, of course, we kind of yo-yoed back and forth. We're strong on different parts of the track. I was real good from the exit of turn 1 through the exit of the carousel, and he was good from the exit of the carousel to the exit of turn 1. And so we kind of just yo-yoed back and forth. And I didn't really want to get into anything. My main championship rival, of course, had a couple connection issues. So it kind of changed the philosophy of the race from me to winning and getting as many points as possible to just making sure that I, was safe enough to take home maybe slightly less than going for a win or a stage win, but enough to give myself a decent gap for next week at Homestead.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you now go into the final race of the season at Homestead as the points leader. What is going to be your philosophy at Homestead as you try to seal the championship?
Well, it's gonna have to be. I'm gonna have to see how the points shake out. Obviously, once we get him in, because I do know Brian is extremely strong at Homestead. It's one of his best tracks, and quite frankly, he's gonna be tough to beat. It's one of my weaker tracks, in fact. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the points shake out, see how much of a gap I have to him, because that'll kind of determine it. From what I'm guessing right now, based on kind of the preliminary math in my head, my main goal is going to be to stay out of trouble, lead at least one lap to get those 5 bonus points for leading the lap, and making sure that I can be within the stage points and see the checkered flag at the end of the race. That's the big deal. Make sure I see the checkered, stay out of trouble, and hopefully we can pip one out next week and get the first SAAC Cup Series championship on iRacing.
I am looking forward to watching it next week. So do you have any, and last but not least, do you have any sponsors, anybody you want to shout out, give thanks to, anything like that? Who gets it done for you?
Same thing. I always shout out anytime I'm on one of these interviews. It's the boys in SAAC, like I always say. We've been racing together on various games for 4 to 5 years, and we got over to iRacing. We've been on iRacing for a while, finally got ourselves a league going. Brian did a great job of building this league up, having the infrastructure for us, and then we took it over, and we're hoping to really do big things with it. So just shout out those guys. Shout out everyone that's racing today, all 21 guys that showed up. It's awesome. We had a fantastic race, and I can't wait for next week at Homestead.
I'll look forward to calling it next week, and good luck to you as you battle for the championship. Thank you.
Thanks so much, man.
And that was Cody Rivera's our 3rd place finisher tonight here at Watkins Glen. I do not believe we are going to hear from Brochu, our 2nd place finisher, but Adam, I believe, has fought through the crowd to get to victory lane and has caught up with tonight's winner, Austin Duran.
Hey, Austin, it's the guys in the JCTV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you. Sorry, I'm late.
Well, it's all right. It was last lap pass there on the racetrack as well. So what was it like coming off turn 7 and setting up that execution on Sam Brochu for the race win here tonight?
Oh man, I was playing with him all lap long. I knew I had the faster car. I knew I could have gotten by him if I really tried earlier in the race. But yeah, coming down to the final corner, I knew I had to give him a little bit of a bumper because there was really no clean way to get by him. And I was trying to lay the bumper to him all lap long, and I knew I had to hit him a little bit harder in the final corner. And yeah, I was able to do that. I was trying my best not to wreck him. It was hard. I'm not used to giving bump and runs, but yeah, I felt like it was pretty clean for the most part. We both gave each other enough room off of the final corner, and then yeah, down the front, I knew he was gonna be mad, so I knew to get up against the wall in case he was able to hook me, which he tried doing right before the line.
Yeah, it was a good job sneaking by him there, and good car control with that wall being right there as well. But what was that second stage like? You two and with Cody hanging out in 3rd, but really, you and Sam were really class of the field, just being able to gap the whole field like that. And what was it like racing against him and setting yourself up for a pass which would come on the last lap?
Yeah, I knew me and Sam would eventually run away. Me and him have raced before and on road courses and stuff like that, and we both been really, really quick. So it was looking like it was gonna be a 4-car race. But yeah, after the first round of pit stops, it kind of cycled us back up to the front, and then I was able to get by Cody, I believe, on the restart. And yeah, I was able to just ride behind Sam. I knew if I just kept up with him, I would have a shot on the final lap if I wasn't able to get by him sooner, because I was trying my best that run to force him into a mistake. I even made one myself, hitting the wall off the final corner. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really challenging, honestly. That's one of the hardest races I've ever ran. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and congrats to Sam on P2.
Well, who do you have to shout out and thank that got you here to victory lane tonight?
I'd like to shout out my sponsor, SD Graphics, coming on board tonight. Longtime partner of mine. It was good to get him into victory lane. And Winn-Dixie, K1 Race Gear, NASCAR Hotspot. Check him out on Instagram. And my team, of course, EC Racing.
All right. Well, thanks, Austin. One quick last question. What do you have expectations next week in the finale?
I don't believe I know what track it is, but
Homestead.
okay, yeah. I don't have too much experience with Homestead in the next gen, so I guess we'll see. I feel like I've been up front in a good amount this season, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. We're gonna be watching, of course. Good luck there next week, and congrats again on the victory.
All right, thank you so much.
That was Austin Doran, the winner tonight in the Velocity Designs 100 here from Watkins Glen.
Yeah, what a battle we saw. You know, just all around, I think that was a great race, all up front, and for the most part throughout the field too. You know, one thing that I have quickly realized is in this short time that JCTV has been covering the Coast to Coast Cup Series is how well these guys put on a show, and kind of surprised that they hadn't had a broadcaster locked down before, with just the amazing talent that we see from these guys. So absolutely, of course, glad to see that JCTV is on the call for these races, and just all around a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I just want to like that race to the finish was honestly what Austin Duran's patience staying behind Birchu for that last entire run and not making a move and just consistently pressuring him. And eventually he did use the bumper on the last lap, but at the same time, I would think almost everybody on this would do the same thing. And was really impressive, really put himself in a great position there, and props to both him and Sam for how strong they both ran that entire final stage. Like, that was really impressive. And hopefully we get just a good race next week at Homestead as their season wraps up.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting next week, like you mentioned, Brett, to conclude this championship, this first season here on JCTV, and for the rebrand for them here in the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series. And I think this was a really fun race, like we all mentioned. That finish was awesome, and it was really great to see it all set up there. We knew something was going to happen in the last couple of laps. It was just a matter of when Austin Jordan was going to be able to make that move, and he waited until it was the last possible second there, and it worked out great for him. And of course, there's going to be other people disappointed with the runs tonight because it was a road course race, and quite a few guys wrecked out.
Moving on from, well, I was going to say moving on from Watkins Glen, but really not. Moving on from this race here, tomorrow night, the DI9 Designs NAOR series returns from their bye week last week. They're not going to be at Watkins Glen. They are going to be at Talladega, which should be really exciting there. Of course, Jonathan Parker taking the first four races, four of the first 5 races over there with the win. Spacey Wygent, the only other winner so far this season. Saturday night, the BSR ITPN Truck Series also returns after being off last week. And that one is at Watkins Glen International. Brett and myself will be in that race trying to...
you know it's going to be a mid-off for 15.
Yeah.
You know it.
Brett and I might be racing each other for a top 15, but... yeah, I'll tell you, I really am looking forward to it. I'm not a road course guy, as I mentioned at the start of this broadcast, but, some road courses can be fun, more fun than others, and if I'm going to choose a road course to go to, Watkins Glen would certainly be one of my top choices. So I'm really looking forward to that. Tuesday night, our Slide Job Racing League is on a bye week. So they're
in the off season.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. The off season, not the bye week. Of course, we crowned champion being Jonathan Parker just a couple days ago. So the next time after Saturday night, we'll see some action. Will be Homestead 1 week from tonight to crown champion here in Coast to Coast Cup Series. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I think that does it from us, guys. What a great race we saw. Great battle. And congrats to Austin Duran on the race win. From all of us here at JCTV, Brett Bennett, Adam Kuhn, all the drivers that put on a great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll catch you next time. I'm Josh Copperl saying so long, and we'll see you later.